I'm Matt, and I'm back with yet another video. Believe it or not, I don't know how long it's been since I've done one of these talk to microphone B-roll on the screen videos, but recently I've gained an interest in films that deal with revolution, for no particular reason at all. But today I'm going to talk about 5 films that are either entirely or partially about revolution. But what is revolution? For the purposes of this video, I'm referring to Merriam-Webster's second definition of the word, particularly B, quote, a fundamental change in political organization, and definition C, activity or movement designed to affect fundamental changes in the socio-economic situation. Now that that's out of the way, I'll move on to the first film. The first film I'm going to talk about is Judas and the Black Messiah. Released in 2021 and directed by Shaka King, Judas and the Black Messiah tells the true story of Bill O'Neill, played by Lakeith Stanfield, who infiltrated the Black Panther Party under orders from the FBI, who looked to destabilize the party and bring down Deputy Chairman Fred Hampton, played by Daniel Kaluuya in the film. This film is excellent. Not only does it open with one of the best archival footage montages I've ever seen, but the film also keeps that informational standard of quality for its entire runtime. At its core, Judas and the Black Messiah tells the story of 2 men, one an FBI infiltrant, and the other a young revolutionary looking to make the world a better place. How it tells this story is captivating, devastating, and inspiring. This film is rooted in revolutionary ideas, and it is powerful because of its commitment to educating its audience on the Black Panthers and portraying a part of American history otherwise swept under the rug. The score of this film is also fantastic, composed by Mark Isham and Craig Harris. I don't have much else to say, but I recommend this film nonetheless for everyone to watch and understand. Judas and the Black Messiah is not currently streaming on any streaming service, but it is available to rent online wherever you rent films. The second film I'm going to talk about is One Way or Another, a 1974 film directed by Sarah Gomez. One Way or Another is a hybrid film combining documentary sensibilities with a fiction narrative, something which makes for a film with a unique style and personality. One Way or Another is able to seamlessly blend documentary segments with narrative fiction scenes, which are filmed in a way to give the sense that you could be watching a documentary. The film tells the story of Mario and Yolanda, a couple living in revolutionary Cuba. The film centers around their differences in perspective despite their desire to be with each other. Yolanda is an independent woman, and as such clashes with Mario, a macho man who is stuck in his ways. That is, until he changes his ways because of Yolanda, causing even more tension in their unstable relationship. The film puts forward the idea that we must work together through our differences to find peace with each other. Mario's prejudices and old-fashioned masculine ways of thinking must be left behind. Obviously that's easier said than done, which the film explores. Cuban revolutionary filmmaker Sarah Gomez paints a vivid picture of Cuba in the 70s, and the cinematography, music, and editing are all in service of the film's message and revolutionary ideas. A monumental film and one of the few directed by women during this time in Cuba. I watched this film on the Criterion channel, but it is also on YouTube for free. The third film I'm going to talk about is The Hour of the Furnaces. Released in 1968, The Hour of the Furnaces is a 4-hour Argentine documentary directed by Octavio Gattino and Fernando Solanas. The film is split into 3 parts. Part 1, Neocolonialism and Violence, Part 2, Act for Liberation, and Part 3, Violence and Liberation. Now, being completely honest, I don't expect anyone to walk away from this video and decide to watch this film. It's very dense, and unless you are particularly interested in mid-20th century Argentine political history, you probably won't be able to sit through this film in its entirety. However, this film is important for being a notable film in third world cinema, that is, cinema to come out of Latin America, Asia, or Africa in the 20th century. The film discusses the effects of American imperialism and its consequences in Latin America and in other places around the world, as well as actions taken against imperialism, mainly in Argentina. The film shows how America has meddled in Latin American politics and prevented Latin American countries from being truly independent. The film also discusses revolution in Argentina as it relates to Peronism, in a nuanced way which admits Peronism's pros and cons. Peronism is a nationalist socialist movement which in my view has many flaws, but the film is able to acknowledge these flaws while also exploring how Peronism united Argentinians to fight back against imperialism and oligarchy. American imperialism is something which Latin America still feels the aftershocks of today, and this film shows why American imperialism must end. Lastly, this film is very unique in the way it presents ideas through editing. The film's editing style is energetic and in your face a lot of the time, and the way music is used throughout the film only furthers this energy. I recommend watching the first 20 or so minutes of this film just because you get a sense of its thesis from those first 20 minutes, but admittedly this film isn't an easy watch. The film is available to watch on YouTube for free. The fourth film I'm going to talk about is The Battle of Algiers. Released in 1966 and directed by Guillaume Pontecorvo, the film is about the Algerian fight for independence from France. This film is perhaps one of the most important films about revolution to ever be made, and for good reason. The film is very politically charged and shows the consequences of colonialism on a people. The Algerian people want nothing more than independence from the French and are forced to revolt, sometimes even violently, in order to create the change that they want. The film is shot much like a documentary, with many shots being handheld long takes. The film also makes use of telephoto zoom lenses for many shots, giving many shots a certain energy which helps convey the messaging and themes of the movie. Ultimately, this film is fantastic for many reasons: for its raw depiction of revolution, for its unwavering anti-colonial messaging, and for what it has to say about revolutionary action. I recommend this film to everyone to watch at least once. It's not only a very important film about revolution, but it is also a very important film in film history in general. The Battle of Algiers can be watched on YouTube for free. The last film I'm going to talk about is Children of Men, released in 2006 and directed by Alfonso Cuarón. The film is a science fiction film set in a dystopian 2027 United Kingdom. This film is about a birthing crisis in the dystopian United Kingdom. In this future version of the UK, women are unable to give birth, leading to a rapid decline in humanity. Children of Men is a film about revolution, but unlike the other films I've talked about, it has no real ties to real life, but it's an important film nonetheless. The main conflict of the film is the immigration crisis the United Kingdom faces in the film due to being one of the last bastions of civilization. This is a conflict which is obviously pretty relevant to the current day United States. The film's protagonist, Theo, is about as relevant as a protagonist can be in a story about revolution, as Theo is a man mostly apathetic to the horrors going around him until he is thrust into revolutionary activity related to a woman who is mysteriously pregnant. Theo is the everyman, someone who is tired and does not want to engage with the world around him until he is forced to do so. I don't have much else to say about this film, but I'd be remiss if I didn't also mention this film's cinematography, which is, in one word, breathtaking. The film is filled with one-takes which are expertly crafted, and the final sequence of the film is actually an homage to the Battle of Algiers. As a BFI article says, quote, "Paying homage to Guillaume Pontecorvo's classic 1966 drama, The Battle of Algiers, this bravura sequence took almost 2 weeks to choreograph. Even then, the finished shot was nearly ruined at the last minute when fake blood droplets splashed onto the camera lens. Lubezki persuaded and exasperated Cuarón it was better to continue shooting, and rightly so, as the blood now looks like an inspired visual effect than a random accident." Unquote. Children of Men is not currently on any streaming service, but it is available to rent online wherever you rent films. That's all I have to say today. I know this video is pretty short, but I didn't want to ramble on too much about any of these films, rather let you watch them and discover them for yourselves. This video is simply meant to guide you in the direction of some films about revolution, and you could choose to engage with them or not. Thanks for watching, and look out for more videos soon.